All right, so we're being recorded. Okay, and we are officially going to go ahead and get started. So I'd like to welcome everybody to our monthly workshop here at Florida Outreach
Join the
Center.
meeting.
And my name is Jason, for those who don't know me, but I think everybody on this call does just about. And today's workshop is going to be on money transferring services, money bill paying services, and whatnot. Um, Normally, with a lot of these workshops that we do, I always like to give a little background on what it is, which I certainly will do. And I like to talk about various methods that we can use to accomplish such tasks. And I also like to, when possible, give examples. Um, I like to give examples uh, to show people how these items work. Unfortunately, since we're talking about money transferring and a lot of financial information, the actual demonstration of showing you these things are going to be very limited because, however, while I was trying to set up what they call like fake accounts or dummy accounts, unfortunately I was not able to do that. So we're going to have to show you some information via our screen share service here on Zoom. However, a lot of that is pertaining to a lot of my personal financial information because that's the way we'll be logging in. And to kind of minimize showing you a lot of personal information, unfortunately, that part is going to have to be cut short a little bit, but that's okay. We're also going to have time for questions and answers, so don't worry, we'll allow time for that as well towards the end, and we're going to use the raise the hand method, and we'll go over how to do that um, when that time comes, so don't worry. So let's talk just a few minutes about what is our workshop all about and why would you want to use this. And I'm assuming that there are probably a couple different categories of people that fit into this call today. You either are using money transferring or bill paying services already, and you're doing those online. You've been doing them for quite a while and you really enjoy them, but maybe you want to learn a little bit more, and that's fine. You either have heard about these type of services, but you don't know much about them, and that's perfectly okay as well. Or you never heard of them, or you have in your mind that you'll never use them, uh, and that's okay as well. And my goal is not to change anybody's mind on how they currently do their bill paying and money transferring and whatnot. My goal is here is just to educate you guys a little bit on what's available and how we kind of do it. So let's start off with talking about the first option that I want to talk about. And I'm going to be talking specifically, and I apologize to my Android users here. Okay, so if you're an Android person, this may not be a very applied to you. So I apologize for that. But I want to talk to my Apple people here for just a minute, since I am an iPhone and an Apple user. Apple came out with a service, I want to say about, I'm going to kind of guess, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, called Apple Pay. Okay? And if you're familiar with Apple Pay, that's wonderful. But if you're not, I'm going to talk a little bit about it and tell you what you can kind of do with this. Apple Pay has really evolved since Apple came out with this service. Okay. Um, what it started out to be originally and what it is today are two different things. Originally, what it meant to be was a way for you to send money from one Apple person to another. So you had, or you still do, have to have an Apple device with, of course, an Apple ID account set up already. And that's if you have an iPhone, an iPad, a Mac computer, an Apple Watch, anything that has to do with the Apple name, iPods, whatever. And so it allowed people, and it still does allow people to transfer money from one person to the other within minutes. The nice thing about this service, along with a lot of these others, is that a lot of them are either totally free or there may be a minimum charge. And when I say a minimum charge, it literally maybe $1 or less, maybe $2 at the most, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And what's nice is I have a friend that lives with me, and say we order dinner. Well, I pay for it with my debit card online. I do a lot of food delivery, which we did do a workshop on that. It's a totally different subject. However, I'll pay for my dinner and hers together. Um, and she'll want to pay me for her part of the meal. So what she'll do is she'll actually go into her phone. We both have iPhones. She also has an iPad, so she can do it from either one of her devices, and it will show up on my iPhone instantly. Where she can go in there, and because we both have Apple um, Pay accounts set up, and that's very important. That's something else I want to mention before I do forget is that in order to use any of the services that we're going to talk about today, Apple Pay, Zelle, which we'll get into, PayPal, and there's just so many others out there. The list goes on and on and on. You have to set up an account first in order to use these services. They're not set up for you automatically. They are free to set up. There's absolutely no charge. If there was a charge to set up an account, I always say don't do it because there's something wrong with that type of philosophy, to be quite honest. And what's really important when you set up an account with Apple Pay or any of the others that we're going to kind of touch on is that you have to link either a bank account, a checking account of some type, preferably a checking account if you have one, or a debit card linked to a bank, okay? So, for example, I have an Apple Pay account, and I'll talk about how we access that in just a minute. I have an Apple Pay account that was set up. It doesn't take but a few minutes to set up. Link your bank account information. I believe I have my bank account and my debit card both in there, just so I have the freedom of choice of whichever method I want to use, although they both go in and out of the same method or the same source of financial information from my bank, which is Wells Fargo. And
Boo.
once that is set up, once that's set up, I am able to now receive and send money to any other Apple user that also has an Apple Pay account set up. So I know many of us have Apple devices, whether you be an iPad user or an iPhone, whatever. And just because you might have an iPhone or an iPad, obviously does not mean you have an Apple account or an Apple Pay account set up instantly. In fact, you do not. I can promise you that. So how do we access Apple Pay? You actually access Apple Pay through the wallet. And the wallet is actually a whole huge separate identity on its own, okay? I don't want to get into all the elements of the wallet because we'll be just stuck on that for the entire session, which I obviously don't want to do because I want to get to others. So, however, the one concern or the one element that you would want to be concerned with in your wallet is actually the Apple Pay portion of the wallet. Okay, so there's a lot of other things you can do with your wallet, and we can possibly talk about that at a future time. So, however, dealing with the Apple Pay. Now, one other thing that you have to do, and unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, unless they've changed this, in order to use Apple Pay to send or receive money, is you have to set up either if you have an iPhone 8 or lower, you have to set up what they call as Touch ID. If you have an iPhone 10 or above, you have to set up what they call Face ID. And I'm not going to get into how to set those up because that's something that if you need assistance and you're not currently one of my students or enrolled in classes with us here at Florida Outreach Center, that's something that we can do together offline. But once that isn't set up, you're able to use Apple Pay. So, and also once you link your financial information, meaning, as I mentioned before, about your bank account or your credit card, or your debit card rather, Apple is going to verify this information. So if you think, oh, I'll just put in any old account number, something at random, just to see if it'll work. And if it doesn't come back with a valid information, it will not let you set it up. It won't continue. Trust me. Apple takes your privacy. I can't say, I mean, all these services, you know, Zelle and PayPal, they all say, oh, we take your privacy very seriously. I know for a fact Apple does. Trust me. Apple is so secure that they really, I mean, they say that if something happened to your phone, they wouldn't even be able to get into it. So a lot of people are also a little bit nervous about using these type of services. And I want to kind of, if I can, just take a minute and kind of like reassure you guys that actually these services that we're talking about today are extremely secure. They all use some type of form of encryption. They all use some type of, you know, password or secured type of network. So while not everything is 100% guaranteed that hackers can't get your information, it's extremely hard, I know, at least with Apple. Okay? That's all I can kind of say on that. And once your account is set up, and if you don't have Touch ID set up and or Face ID set up, and once that's set up, you're all set to use Apple Pay on your Apple device. So the way you would do this is you would go into your wallet and go to send money if you were going to send somebody some money, okay? You would then have to look up their information. You would have to either add them as a new payee, and you can do that by entering various information. And Apple has a way that it could show you through your list of your contacts on your iPhone or iPad. We'll use those two for example. It will show you the list of people that actually have Apple Pay set up and are fully what they call verified. Okay, when you're verified through Apple, that means they verified your information, your personal information, as well as your financial information. Okay, so they consider you a verified user. So it's only going to show you people who are verified users. So you can go through the list of names, which is probably the easiest way, to be quite honest, especially if it's someone who you're looking for specifically. And if you're using VoiceOver, when you get to their name, you would double tap on their name. And then you're more or less set up to send them money. Now, I have always said that I always found the Apple Pay interface a little tricky. It could be set up a little bit more cut and dry, as I like to say. You know, some of the controls are hidden, like there's some options you have to go under this more menu and things of that nature. And I don't want to get into it too much in detail because I don't want to spend too long on either one. But once you get used to the interface, it's quite easy. And what's nice is when you send someone money, it could be $1 up to, and there is a limit, by the way. First of all, the limit, you can only send, as much as that's in your account. You can either pull the money from your financial information, or one other way of paying for things or sending money is you can actually put money in your Apple Pay account, which is like a temporary place to like store money. So if I know, say, we have Carolyn on the line, say I'm going to send Carolyn $25. Okay, and I know it's in my checking account today, but it may not be there. I may not have it in a week when I need to pay her. I could take that $25 and move it out of my checking account right away. It will deduct it from my checking account, but it won't send it to her or anybody else. It will just put it in my Apple Pay account and store it there until I'm ready to use it. Either send it to somebody or pay for it with other things. And I'll get to that in just 1 second. So that's another nice thing about using Apple Pay. As I just mentioned a minute ago, when you put money in your Apple Pay account, you now have the option also of paying for things through the iTunes or App Store. Because in iTunes, which is where you would go and where you can rent or buy movies, you can buy music, you can buy extra ringtones for your phone, whole list of things, okay? And the same thing with the App Store, where an app might cost money, you'll have money sitting in your Apple Pay account, and you'll be able to use that right away. So that's another nice thing. One other thing I want to kind of talk about that Apple Pay has kind of moved on to that's really exciting, and I love this feature myself, is the ability to actually pay for things in physical stores with Apple Pay, okay? And you're probably wondering, how in the world do you pay for things in stores? Not all stores take Apple Pay, okay? And the list keeps growing and growing and growing. I won't go into a lot of different merchants, but I'll mention just a few that I know of, although I'm sure you all might have ran across more than I even know of. I know McDonald's, Walgreens, Subway, I believe CVS, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, and many others actually all accept Apple Pay. And what you do, again, once you have your account set up, You go to the register and the cashier scans your item as usual. Well, what do you do next? You either pull out cash, well, but no one's really using cash right now. Everybody does everything electronically, especially with everything going on. They say it's not a good idea to handle a lot of cash because of germs and all that, but we won't go into all that fine details. So a lot of people are opting for more digital ways to pay. So what else would you do? You could pull out your debit card and use the machine either by swiping your card, or if it has a chip, you can put it in the machine and enter your PIN or run it as a credit. Or even the newer debit cards or credit cards have a tap where you just tap it on the machine. Okay. However, say you don't have any of those options, or you don't want to use any of those options. I prefer to use Apple Pay because it's more secure, and I'm also not pulling out a card that everybody can look at who's around me. So what I do is I take my phone, and on the card reader where you would put like a credit card or debit card, there's a screen, and you literally take your phone, and I assume this would work also maybe with your iPad as well, and you actually lay it on the phone, and there's a scanner, and it will come up on your screen and it will say pay with Apple Pay. And at that point, depending on what model phone you have, if you have an iPhone 8 or lower and it's set up with Touch ID, you have to use Touch ID. You would actually just use your fingerprint or your Touch ID. And once you've done that, which only takes a few seconds, you actually will feel your phone do a quick vibrate, and you'll hear your phone make a sound. And then, of course, your transaction will most likely go through. In fact, it should, unless there's no money in your account. But that's a different story. So that's a really nice way of paying for things. And then also, not to go in, I won't go into any detail past this with Apple Pay, because I do want to move on, is you can actually pay for things online. A lot of online services are now, a lot of your online stores, like Amazon, I do a lot of food delivery with DoorDash and Uber Eats. They use Apple Pay and all that. So Apple Pay has really become like a nice global way. Speaking really quick to my Android users, because I don't want to leave you guys out, you guys do have a similar way of paying for things. While I don't have much experience with it, it's called Google Pay, because Android phones are made by Google, and it probably works in a similar fashion. You most likely have a wallet app on your phone or some type of icon that probably needs to be set up, linking personal and financial information. And once that's all verified, a lot of stores both take Apple Pay and they also take Google Pay as well. So we don't want you to think that it's all leaning towards us Apple people. Google people are very much in the loop as well, which is really nice, you know, and it makes things more secure. And what's nice, especially when you're paying for things in a store with Apple Pay, the cashier, or anybody else for that matter, are not able to see fully your card or financial information. And that's really nice, because that way it really cuts down on this whole identity theft thing, and where people are actually, you know, being taken advantage of. People steal credit card numbers, you know, and unfortunately, a lot of us, or some of us, have been victim to all that. So that's really kind of really a nice way to go. So that's a little bit about Apple Pay. Like I said, there's a lot more detail about it, and there's more detail about Google Pay. If you want more information, you can schedule some time and come on and have a class with me at a future date. So next, what I want to move on to is I want to talk about Zelle. Zell, okay? And Zelle is one of those other peer-to-peer type of services that actually allow you to pay for things or pay people or receive money. So you can send or receive money. However, the only way for you to use Zelle is through your bank, okay? So while Apple Pay is directly on your personal device, Zelle is only available, as far as I'm aware, and if if I misspeak about any of this information, I sincerely apologize. I'm only going by what I'm aware of and what I've been told recently. Zelle is only available on your bank. And in order to use Zelle, you have to have an online account. So, which for most people at most banks, especially your bigger banks, even your smaller banks, they all offer online banking. And usually, for the most part, that's a free service. Okay. Now, there's a couple ways you can manage your online bank account, which I won't go into great detail about because that's not really what we're here to do. Is you actually can either manage that through your bank's website, or you actually can use the apps, the corresponding apps that actually go with your bank. So like Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, any of the banks that are out there, most of them do have, some type of app that you can download to your Apple device, your Android device, or whatever. So, or of course, you can go right on their computer. So you have to go through a whole setup process first. First, you have to set up the online bank account, which is a whole, thing in itself. Once it's set up, it's set up. And then you have to set up your Zelle account. Okay. Is there someone who's unmuted? If someone is unmuted, could you please mute yourself? I'm hearing some background noise. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Appreciate that. So I want to talk a little bit about Zelle, and I think I'm going to be able to demonstrate that just really quick, at least show you a little bit about it on online through Wells Fargo, which is who I use for my bank account. So give me 1 second. I just want to, well, no, let me go ahead and talk about it first, and then I'll go ahead and get it set up for you guys. And that will take me just a minute, so bear with me when we get to that point. I already have an online account, which I'm able to view all my, my couple of accounts, its balances and whatnot. That's all fine, good and dandy. However, I use Zelle a lot to send people money and receive money. And yes, that is similar to what we were just talking about with Apple Pay, but we're talking about it directly through your bank this time instead of on a device directly. So what's nice is that it is a free service. What's also nice is the way it used to be set up was a lot harder. They've actually made it a lot easier now. Say I want to send somebody money, okay? And I don't have their bank information. Before, when you want to send someone money through Zelle, you would have to have their bank account information, which was up to the person if they really wanted to give it to you or not, because, that starts getting into a lot of personal business. So what's nice about Zelle is if you don't know that information and you know that they're registered with Zelle, you both have to be registered with Zelle in order to do this. you can either look up that person by either typing in their phone number with the area code, the whole 7 digits, or their email address. And then based on what you typed in, if there's a match, the system will show you, which is really nice. So once that's done, you can then go ahead and add them as a payee, okay? First, you have to find them for the first time. Once you've added them, they will show up in a list that you'll have in future visits. This is for the first time. You have to search for them by either their phone number, rather, or their email address. And if there's a match, it will tell you, and then you add them as a payee. And it will, of course, will show you their name and all that good information. And then from there, you're able to send them anywhere from $1 up to, I think the limit, I think the first time there's like a $500 limit. But once you've sent money to them the first time, and the money does go through and all that, after that, I think the limit is, I could be wrong about this, but I think the limit is $2,500. So don't worry, we will not be sending anybody $2,500 because I don't have near that type of money in my account anyway, unless someone wants to volunteer their own. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit about how Zelle works, at least a couple of quick screens of it. So bear with me 1 second while I get my screen share set up, which will just take me 1 moment. So hang in there, folks. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Okay. Basic tab check selected. Sharing list box. Click arrow key. Sharing list box. Click arrow key to navigate to list semicolon with default value selected. JAWS home use list box. JAWS sharing list box. Click arrow key to navigate to list semicolon with default value selected. Screen list box screen. Share your entire screen. Okay. Share computer sound check box space checked. All right. Optimize screen sharing for share screen button. Enter new book started screen share. Zoom meeting share screen. Okay, so now if I did that correctly, and I'm going to slow down my JAWS because I remember last time we did a screen share last month, and I apologize. One of the feedback I got was, slow down your JAWS, it was too fast, which I didn't even think about just because I'm so used to having it set that fast. But yes, I will slow down my JAWS, so bear with me.
Windows M, desktop, folder view, list views, JAWS home use.
Okay,
menu bar, options, leaving menu bar. Alt-O, menu, options menu, basics, D. Voices sub-menu, enter, voice. Select the voice profile, voice adjustment, Enter, leaving menus, voice adjustment dialog, profile name, delete profile button, enable addition, synthesizer, speak sample button, voice adjust combo box, voice rate 70s, 30%, 30, 14%, 17%.
We'll go a little faster, otherwise it will drag out.
18%, 20%.
There we go, that's good.
Enter, JAWS home use.
Okay, so that should be good enough for anybody to hear. For those who are not familiar, I am using JAWS as a screen reader since I can't see the screen. So
Windows M,
we're going to go ahead and
Control G.
We're going to go ahead and open up Google Chrome.
Google Chrome. Okay. Escape virtual.
And I'm going to go ahead and go to my Wells Fargo page.
W Wells Fargo and banking. Enter.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Wells Fargo and same page link, skip to main con.
All right, and I'm going to have to log in.
Search opens a sign on button. Enter.
And it already has my
alert,
username and password in there.
Description, alert our phone and brand.
So I'm already in my account. So now what I'm going to do.
Account summary.
Let me make my screen a little
Alt
bit
space.
bigger
Context. X. Leaving menu.
for those who can see a little bit.
Account save nav link get Wells Fargo list of search link to new message link get message links welcome list and list of accounts button link broker transfer and pay button
Okay. There's a transfer and pay
enter
tab.
banner
I'm going to
region
go under
navigation
that.
region list with 5 items transfer and pay button expanded navigate heading list of link transfer money link pay W link pay bills link send money with Zelle
Send money with Zelle.
enter
Okay,
navigation
that's
menu
what we're
navigation
looking
region list with account next button item 1 of search welcome Jason search open welcome list and list of accounts button link pro transfer send money with Zelle heading list of to receive settings button help opens to list end help receive settings but list of 2 heading level 1 registered
for. Okay.
receive settings button help list and send and receive money securely dash all you need is an email address or mobile number. How do I request money opens dialog button heading level 2 recipients.
Okay. So I am on, I believe I'm on my list.
Main region recipient search filter button collapsed. Add recipient actions for Julia Clem.
Ah, there we go. Okay, there we go. So now I am on my list of, I'm going to send money. Okay. I can also request money, but I'm not going to do that at this point. I'm going to go ahead and send money. So I have a couple people that I have sent money to at one point, or I transfer money to on a regular basis back and forth.
Send money to Julia. Actions for send money to Kimberly and Colada button.
Okay. I'm going to send my friend Kimberly some money. Okay. So it says send to Kimberly and Colata. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter on that.
Enter. Send money dash Wells Fargo. Main read. How do I request money? Opens to send the amount edit required. 0.00.
And I'm going to jump straight down, passing a lot of information to the dollar amount. I have skipped over where I can select the account that I want to send from. And I have 2 accounts that I can send from, my checking account or my savings account. I try to leave my savings account alone. So I could put in the dollar amount that I want to send to.
Remaining send money edit required.
So I'm going to send her $1.
1 0.01 0 0.10 0 1.00.
Okay. And as you heard, if you heard JAWS, I put in 100 and it moves the decimal point accordingly to the amount of digits you put in. So I'm just going to send her $1 and I will make sure she pays me back this later. All right.
Clear text but memo left parent optional right parent edit.
All right. And there's a memo button, a memo tab where I can type in a note. If I chose to, this is optional, where if I wanted to put in why I'm sending this money, she won't see this, but I will.
Cancel button, content info region, list with 3 items, online security guarantee link, privacy, add choices link, list with 4 items, wrapping to top, search, welcome, accounts but transfer and plan and security and support, amount edit, main region, memo, cancel button, continue button unavailable.
There we go. Okay. Oh, and there's an uncontinue unavailable. So there was something that I didn't fill
cancel
in.
Memo left, clear text, amount edit, transfer limits opens dialog, select account button collapsed required.
Ah, I see what I did wrong. I have to select the account. I thought I could skip that. See, I was trying to be quick. So we'll select
1
it.
enter, expanded required, dialog, way to save, checking, enter, checking,
So we'll send it from my checking.
Transfer limits opens, clear text, canceled, continue button.
There we go.
Enter. Send
I'm
money
gonna go
dash
to
Wells Fargo
continue.
main region. Send money link account. How do I request? Please read the no cancel but edit button. Send money button.
Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and hit the send button. I can review it. I can read the terms. And since I've sent money to her, it will be sent to her instantly.
List of 1 send money button. Enter. Send money dash verify dash Wells Fargo. Main region. Send money dash confirmation heading level 1.
Okay, and there's a confirmation screen. So I've successfully sent her $1. And I both herself and myself, let me get out
Alt
of this.
F4 taskbar.
Both herself and myself have both received emails on that I sent money with Zelle, and it will show me the amount that I sent and who to, and a confirmation number. And she'll get an email saying that you received money with Zelle, and it will show from who, the amount, and the whole 9 yards. So that's just a quick example of how you use Zelle. Again, there is a setup process that you do have to go through. But once it's set up, as you can see, you can just go right through your list and be able to do it in a matter of minutes. So it's done very quickly, very securely, and with no cost at all.
Meeting controls. JAWS Home Zoom.
So give me 1 second. I'm going to stop my screen share.
Start button unavailable. Meetings. Search. Zoom. Refresh. Upcoming meetings. Meeting controls. Meeting
One
controls.
second.
Stop share left parent alt plus S right enter. Stop screen share.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. It says I stopped my screen share. That's good. Okay. And again, I know we just kind of went through that really quickly. I'll be quite honest, a little bit nervous about showing you personal information, but I am sure that, you know, that you didn't get to see much. And if you heard how much was in my checking account, if you wish to make donations, I'm always open to them as well. All right. So that's a little bit about Zelle. So now, let's see what we're doing here. All right. The next service I want to talk about is PayPal. Okay. Excuse me. And again, PayPal is one of these services, just like we've been talking about all along, that actually allow you to send and receive money to people, either as individuals or if you're paying for a purchase. Some online purchases, such as eBay. eBay is really big into using PayPal as a form of method for paying for the item, for those who go on ebay.com. And a lot of your big other merchants as well use PayPal as well, because online merchants such as Amazon uses it, Walmart, Target, a lot of your big retailers, they use PayPal as well, or give it to you as an option to pay with, because they see that a lot of people may not have you know, online bank accounts. They may not have their own checking account. And with PayPal, that's just another outlet or another way of setting up personal financial information to pay for things. It is free to use. It's free to send money, which is kind of really nice. I believe the person who set up a PayPal account to receive money, I think after so many times, there is a small charge to them. But for someone like myself who would be paying for something or paying using PayPal to pay for things, there's absolutely no charge to someone like myself, okay? So just to kind of reassure you guys there. So again, PayPal, you go through the initial setup, paypal.com, where you can download it from the App Store for the Apple or iOS devices, or of course on the Google Play Store for our Android folks as well. You go through the initial setup, you set up your user, your online PayPal account, you link your at least a checking account or some type of financial information. Once PayPal has set that up, you're set to go. So what I'll do now is we'll just go through really quick. I'm going to do another screen share, and I'm hoping that you guys were able to hear that last one. And anybody with any visual, anybody with some vision rather, hopefully you were able to see that somewhat well.
Share option button menu. Share screen. Enter. Select the
Okay,
window or
give me one
application you want
second.
to share. Basic tab check. Sharing list box. Click arrow key to navigate the list semicolon with default value selected. Screen list box screen. Share your entire enter.
Okay.
Mute. Currently unmuted. Alt plus A button. Stop share left parent alt. Dock to bottom button. Stop share left parent alt plus S right parent button. Dock more button drop down.
Okay. And that's weird. My Zoom just did something weird where it says it was doing it. So maybe you guys are hearing this. If you're not hearing this, I apologize.
Dock to stop mute. Audio setting. Stop video set. Stop video left parent alt vid. Security. Open part.
Give me
More
one
options.
second.
New share. Pause share left parent alt. New share left. Pause share left. Annotate button.
Oh, okay, it says it is sharing. Okay, so you should be hearing this. If you're not, for whatever reason, I apologize. If you are hearing this, that's great, because it didn't give me the other options like it did before. So
Windows M. Desktop. Folder view. List views.
we're going to go ahead and open up my
Alt
Google
Control
Chrome
G.
again.
Taskbar. Google Chrome. Escape.
And I'm going
Virtual.
to go ahead
Control L.
and load PayPal.
PAYPAL.
That's PAYPAL, by the way.
.com.
.com.
Enter. Send money, pay online, or set up a merchant account. PayPal Google Chrome. Send.
All right. So from here, I am now on the main screen of the, and if you're hearing this, that's great. If you're not, I'll kind of give a little bit of a verbal description just to kind of reconfirm what's going on here. We're now on the main screen of PayPal, and I'm going to go ahead and try and log in.
Link PayPal. Navigate list of link collapse business. Link to there are no ad link help. List and navigate login button. Enter.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead
Send
and
money,
log
pay
in.
online, or set up a merchant account. PayPal login button. Log.
Okay.
Email or mobile number edit required. Jason login button. Enter. Main region. Password edit required. Invalid entry.
Okay.
End.
Got to put in my password.
Blank. Star.
Thought that maybe was in there.
Star.
That's all right.
Star. Show password. Login button. Enter. Log into your PayPal account. PayPal. Link pay visited. Link my PayPal.
All right, so I am logged in, and now I have full access to my PayPal account, which I've had set up now for a number of years. For a while, I was buying some things on eBay. I once in a while still do. And I also have used this to pay some other merchants as well.
Link log out. Main link graphic. You've been invited to apply for the PayPal Cashback MasterCard.
Well, isn't that special? For those who heard that, I've been invited to apply for the PayPal MasterCard, which we are definitely not doing because we don't need to go through all that. But that's where I just happened to land.
There are no categories and no visited link. Proceed to account overview. Main list of link help, link contact, link fees, link security, link apps, link shop, list and separate list of copyright, link privacy.
Okay, I'm going to go
PayPal.
to my payees.
There are no link PayPal. Visited link law. Main link category. Visited link. Proceed to main region list of link help, link contact. PayPal.
Give me one
Link PayPal.
second.
Visited link my PayPal. Link log out. Main region. Link graphic. You've been invited. Category. Visited link. Proceed to account overview. Enter.
That's where I want to go. Proceed to account
Main
overview.
region. Proceed to account overview. PayPal summary.
Okay.
Main region. Visited products heading level tools heading send again heading level 3 link.
Okay, and I've jumped down to send again. Now, what I'm about to show you, I believe, here is a list of people that I have sent money to in the past. And that could be either yesterday, last week, last month, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, doesn't really matter. Once you send an organization or a person money, because it can be not only just people, it can also be organizations or businesses. So they make it really easy for you just to go directly to that, either that person or that organization or that merchant, and be able to send them money right away without you having to find them again. So I'll just kind of run through this really quick.
Main region. PayPal summary. List with 4. Edward Iannucci link.
Okay. So, and I'm just going through these to show you.
Kimberly McCarty link. DG David Goldfield. Recent activity. Head list with John 18. Britton Steiner completed. Money sent minus $40.00 link.
Okay. So then it shows me recent activity. So these are recent transactions that I've completed on my PayPal account.
View all activity link.
And then, of course, there's a view all activity.
Caps lock on. Caps banks and cards heading level 3 link visited.
Okay, banks and cards. I am definitely not going to go into that right now because that will talk about all the banks or all the bank accounts that I have linked, which only has, I believe it has my own, and it also has my wife's on there, and it has any debit cards that we have linked as well. So if I wanted to add a card or add a new checking account, I can do that there. If I wanted to add or link or delete or change a debit card, I can do that there as well. So that's where you would change all that good information.
Overflow button list with 3 items. Wells Fargo bank checking bullet. Wells make an impact heading. Overflow button set your favorite charity link.
Okay. And then it kind of goes into
Alt F4 taskbar.
Going into setting your charity if you want to donate, if you want to make a donation to different charities. And they're talking about more, bigger information, bigger organizations like Red Cross and, organizations of that nature as well.
Meeting controls. Annotate button. Remote control. Add pause share. New more up. Open security. Videos. Stop video left pair and alt. Audio set mute. Stop share left pair enter.
And I'm going to stop that screen share as well. So I'm hoping you were able to hear a little bit about that and just to give you an idea. Now, if I went into, just to kind of back up a little bit, if I went into one of those people that you heard, there were a few people that were mentioned there. If I clicked on one of their names, it would actually be able to allow me to enter a dollar amount, and then I can instantly, very easily, very securely be able to send that person money again without having to find them in a list and having to go through all their financial information and go through a bunch of screens that aren't necessary. It's kind of like a quick action, kind of like just a really quick way of resending somebody money. Again, if I want to send somebody who I have not sent, if I want to send money to somebody who I have not sent money before, then I would actually, there is a search box where I can search for a name of a person, or actually, I think I can type in, if they're a merchant, I can type in the name of them, and then you would have to probably verify that, and then you can put in the dollar amount, and it would send it. Again, it's all done within minutes. The person on the other end receives it within minutes, and it's all done very securely and very quickly as well. And what's really nice is, and I know that a lot of us still today, still prefer to use checks, to write a check. You get a bill in the mail, you pay your bills online, you pay your bills with a check, you fill out the invoice, you send it in the mailbox, and there it goes. Okay, that's still available. However, one other thing I wanted to kind of just talk about for a few minutes, and not really show you just because of logistics, but I want to just talk about for a few minutes, and then we're going to open up, I believe, for questions and answers, because I want to allow time for that as well, because I'm sure you're getting tired of hearing from me, is how we pay bills online. And while that actually can be a whole separate workshop if we got too much into detail about it, but just about any company, whether it be a utility, a credit card, anything, you can pay your bill online, okay? Again, A lot of people still feel the way they like to do, wait for the bill to come in the mail on paper, read it over, get your checkbook out, write a check, go through the whole process, and that's fine. That's fine. However, that's really time consuming. Then you got to worry about a stamp and all that. And for people like ourselves, who a lot of us have either little to no vision, some of us have some vision, and that's fine. You know, that is kind of, I don't want to say a dying breed, because that's not really necessarily true. However, that's not becoming the norm nowadays. Okay. While it's still available and it's not going to go away today or tomorrow, it's really kind of a dying breed in a way. So what's really nice is that, and we'll all use, because we all have to pay electric bills. Okay. And I'm going to use that as an example. So most of us have FP&L, and there are other, power utilities out there in different cities and whatnot. But the main one that most of us are familiar with is FP&L. And FP&L, first of all, what you have to do with any of these companies, if you want to do online bill pay, is set up an online account. Again, takes a few minutes to do it the first time. It's all free, no charge. And companies actually prefer you to do this versus them sending out a paper check or paper invoice. You write a check, the whole 9 yards. So companies would actually prefer you would do this. A lot quicker for them. They can get their payments right away, and also a lot more secure because it goes directly to them, instead of the chances of it getting lost in the mail, whole 9 yards. So we're going to use FP&L. So you go to fpnl.com, fpl.com. There is an FPL app on the App Store, and I believe on the Google Play Store as well. You set that up. You go through the first time enrollment process. Only takes a few minutes. And then from there, not only are you able to pay your bill and view your bill, by the way, that's very important to know. You can actually view your bills online. And I want to take a minute to talk about that. I get a bill in the mail. I can't read it. Okay, now there are various options I would have to do that with. However, the quickest and easiest, and I think most secure way of doing this is reading it online. And I can read my bill in detail. In fact, I've had people read me my bills, but they've just read me, okay, well, your bill is, $100 and it's due on this date. Well, there's a lot more to your bill than just the amount and when it's due. I mean, there's a ton of information depending on the company. Okay. I can view my bills online, and also I can take control of my entire account, my address, my personal information, things like that. So besides being able to take control of your entire FP&L account, in this case, we're using, for example, one of the options, of course, is paying your bill online. Now, most or some companies give you a couple different options on how you want to pay your bill and what methods you want to use to pay your bill with. Unfortunately, the only free method that FP&L gives you is through a checking account. So you would have to set that up, you would have to set that up, and you would need, of course, the name on the account, the routing number that's on the account, and then the actual account number. So, which is, really helpful. Once that's all set up, you don't have to go through that, again. But what a lot of companies allow you to do is not only set up a checking account, they allow you to also pay with a credit card or a debit card. And yes, going back to what we were just talking about a few minutes ago, some of them do allow you to pay with your PayPal account. So yeah, you can link your PayPal account to pay for your FP&L bill. I don't know if for sure, I don't think FP&L allows it, but I'm just using one as example. So some companies, some being the operative word, some companies will allow you to pay with the PayPal account as well as an option. So what's nice is that it already has all your account information in the bill paying screens. All you have to do is it already has your financial information. So in the case of FP&L, you've already put in your bank account information. So it already has all that. And then and it also has the amount of your bill. So there's a couple options you can do. You can either pay your full amount or pay a partial amount. And, depending on whatever your situation is, of course, you would think you would just pay your whole bill in full if you're able to. Usually that amount is filled in for you, so you don't even have to guess or go back and look at your bill or anything to find out the exact amount, and just hit the continue button. You're then taken to what they call as the confirmation screen. And this is your one and only chance, your last chance actually, to verify everything is correct. It will show you your account number with FP&L. It will show you your billing address. Excuse me. It will show you your address that they have on file for your service, the whole 9 yards. Of course, it will show you your financial information, and importantly, it also will show you the amount that you're about to pay. So then you hit the continue button again, and boom, it's done. That's it. You don't have to worry about a thing. And usually within, they say your payment's applied right away. However, I noticed that if you go and look at your bank's balance right after that, it won't show that it's taken out of your account right away. However, it will take a day or two for an FP&L to actually withdraw the funds. So, but once that is received, that's all it is. And then you just exit out of the website, or you also, or exit out of the app. Anytime you pay a bill online, all services usually send you either an email confirmation to your email address that you set up on file as like your receipt, or if you enable text messaging on your device, your Apple or your Android device, if you set that up, if they offer that, they'll send you a text message telling you just paid FP&L, X amount of dollars through account 1234 on, it'll give the date, and it will also, you'll always receive some type of confirmation number. So that way, if you ever have a problem with a payment of any type that you made, you can call FP&L or any company for that matter, and actually you could say, look, I made this payment, and even if you don't see it, you have that confirmation number to go by as well. So that's also another form of backup. So paying bills are quick, efficient, easily, and more importantly, they are secure. So, and there's other services out there as well. Just to mention them, not to go into a lot of detail, there's Venmo, which is V-E-N, N as in Nancy, V-E-N as in Nancy, M as in Mary, O. There's Cash, like money, Cash, C-A-S-H. I have not used that one myself. And there's some others out there as well. But with the examples that I gave you today, that certainly gives you, a very good idea of what's available out there, in addition to the ones that we haven't touched on. So, not saying that you have to rush out there and sign up for every single bill pay service, every single money transferring service. You know, you sign up for whatever makes you feel comfortable. And that's the main thing. So with that, we're going to go ahead and open it up for some questions, comments, whatnot. So we're going to do this via the raise your hand command. We've done this before. I'll mention them, and I'll mention them a couple times so you can pay attention. If you're on a Windows computer, it is Alt-Y. Alt-Y will raise your hand, and Dixie will be able to see that and recognize you. Dixie is being our host today, and I want to thank her, actually. I apologize, I should have done this sooner. I want to thank her for all of her hard work in making sure our meeting today runs very smooth and efficient. So Alt-Y on the computer. If you're on the Mac, and that's on Windows. If you're on the Mac computer, it's Command-Y, Command-Y. If you're on an iPhone or iPad, you would go under More on the right-hand side, and it'll be right there on the screen. And for voiceover users, and even for our Android users using TalkBack, you'll just have to swipe right with one finger until you get to the raise hand command, and then double tap on it, and that will let us know you want to speak. And more important, and not to leave out my telephone people, because I know we have quite a few people here on the telephone who called in, which we appreciate. For those people, it's *9, *9. And once you're called on, Dixie will recognize you, and you will have to unmute yourself as well. To unmute yourself once you're called on the computer, Windows, it's Alt-A, Alt-A. On the Mac, it's Command-A. And on the iPhone and iPad, it's right there on the front screen. You'll see it by swiping, or hear it in that case. And for my telephone people, it's *6 once you're recognized. So with that being said, do we have any questions? Do we have anybody yet, Dixie?
No, we don't. Cleo did have her hand raised in the beginning.
Oh,
I don't know if she still has a question or not, though.
is her hand still raised?
No.
Oh, okay. No questions or comments? Either that means I put you all asleep, or I did such an outstanding job that you all are so impressed. I hope I didn't put anybody to sleep.
I wanted to say that for myself, when it
Yes.
comes to using PayPal, I have to select the friends and family. There's a friends and family section that you select, and then it's free unless they find out later that you're actually a business or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have to keep that in mind, guys. If you're a fan, if you're an individual, it is free. But if you're a business, there is a charge to use PayPal. So keep that in mind. So if you're going to start a business and you're going to accept PayPal for your customers, there's going to be a slight charge for using PayPal. But if for individuals, it is free. Still no hands raised?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Has anybody done this before?
Okay. Wow. Come on, everybody. Don't be shy.
Raise hand.
Who do we have?
Cleo.
Cleo. Okay. Cleo, you can go ahead and unmute. Cleo, you there?
No, I'm sorry. It was 9486. Who's 9486?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Drusilla.
Drusilla. Oh, okay. Drusilla, you there? You can unmute.
Cleo, and I am unmuted.
Oh, you are unmuted. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Didn't hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When I had Vision, I used PayPal.
Okay.
And somebody hacked into my email account and attempted to transfer money through PayPal. And when the bank called me, they asked me to close my PayPal account and reopen a new account. I had so much trouble doing that I just abandoned it. So I have not used PayPal in a couple of years, but I was thinking about doing Zelle instead of PayPal. Or do I really need to have more than one way of using online payments or money transfers?
Well, actually, that's a really good question, and I appreciate you asking that. The reason why I recommend that you get at least a couple of different services is because not all people and not all merchants accept one, they don't all accept the same thing. So not everybody is going to accept Zelle. Not everybody is going to accept PayPal. And it's nice to have those options.
Okay.
Now, go ahead. You were going to say something?
That's good. I was going to ask if I didn't know if I've used PayPal to make a donation to the Cancer Society in London, but I don't know if it applies to other countries. How would I find out, for example, if I could use PayPal in Jamaica, say?
Okay, that's actually a really good question. On the PayPal website, there actually is a contact link, and it's on there, and there's actually a phone number where you could call them. Now, where we saw before where my JAWS said make a donation, I know we didn't go into that, but it may actually talk about that. If you go online and you don't see the information you want right away, you always should look for the contact link, and there's usually always a way of contacting the company directly. So in the case of PayPal, they do have a phone number. Again, it's on their website. And you can call them and ask them that specific company, because I really don't have the answer. Now, I wanna go back really quick to something you brought up a minute ago, and it kind of gave me something to think about. You mentioned you got an email saying that your PayPal account has been hacked and they want you to close and reopen a new one. There are a lot of scams going around, okay? And unfortunately, PayPal is one of the scams where they'll say, oh, your PayPal account has been hacked. Please click on this link to verify. If you are ever in doubt, don't ever click on links like that. Like I said, if you ever think that there's something wrong with your PayPal account or any type of bill paying service account, always try to get a hold of the company first before you verify anything, before you sign up for anything, because you want to make sure you're not being a victim of a scam or identity theft, of anything of that nature. Because a lot of these emails, they'll look legitimate. They'll look like they actually came from, the actual company. I get a lot of scam emails from Wells Fargo saying someone has hacked into your Wells Fargo account. Click here to verify, and I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't look right. And I've been used to it, so now I know what to look for. But if I didn't know any better, I would say, wait, let me call Wells Fargo first and see if that was actually, because if that was really true, you can speak to somebody at Wells Fargo, or in this case, PayPal, and they could say either, no, that was a scam, or yes, that is true. And you can verify that with them.
Actually, it was Bank of America that called me and said they suspected some fraudulent activity on my checking account linked to PayPal. And they found out that somebody was trying to transfer money from my checking account into my PayPal account.
Oh.
And they what Bank of America did was have me change my Bank of America account number, and then told me to try to make the changes on PayPal. So I got very annoyed with the whole PayPal thing, really, and I rarely use it after that.
Well, that's okay, and I can understand how that can be, put a bad taste in your mouth. I mean, yeah, if something happened with that, you could say, well, wait a second, why, if that's going to keep going on, then why would I continue to use it if that nonsense is going to carry on? Look, nothing is 100% guaranteed. Yes, these services are secured, but they're also, and I'm not going to lie to you, they're not 100% guaranteed. They can be encrypted. They can have this, they can have that, and which is really nice, except that if a hacker really, unfortunately, knows what they're doing and they want to get in, they're going to get in. Now, what's good is that all these services usually in some form or another have your back. In the case of your Bank of America, they actually called you and detected this information. So that's really good.
Okay, yeah.
So they were able to stop that probably before anything really happened. Which is really nice. Yeah. So, I mean, PayPal will back up purchases. They have like insurance that will say, your transaction is guaranteed. And if something were to happen, they would pay for it plus any, fees or anything like that. But, you have to understand that in none of it, unfortunately, is 100% guaranteed. It just so happens, unfortunately, you were victim to that, but you and unfortunately, thousands of other people. But think about what happens if you write a check, that's actually more susceptible to theft as well.
Well, actually, I found it easier or safer to use PayPal. Like, for example, as I said, I had a relative who recently died in London, and in the memorial services, they said, don't send them any donations, send donation to Cancer Society in London.
Right.
And I thought it was safer to use PayPal to do that than to do a transfer of funds from my credit card to the organization in London. I thought it was safer to use PayPal, but
right.
I'm kind of cautious about using.
Well, you should be caught. You don't want to ever throw caution to the wind and say, well, these services are 100%, they're going to work 100%, nothing's ever going to happen. I mean, look, you're talking about making a donation or sending money. Look what we had before, and I guess it's really still available. You want to send money or do something, you'd have to go and do things through Western Union and go to a store or someplace that took that, or MoneyGram. And those services were very, very, or they could be very expensive. You know?
That's true.
And, they gave you, a confirmation number as well to kind of track it. But, there's been problems with those as well in the past. So, and I'm not saying that all these services, the ones that we talked about, even the ones we didn't talk about, I'm not saying that any one of them are the perfect fit for one person. That's why there's so many options out there. and you should look into all the, look into the ones that are available and kind of take a look at them and see which one is going to be the best fit for you,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of take it step by
Okay.
step. That's basically all you can do. But, thank gosh that your bank was good and they caught it and they did the right thing. So,
Yeah, well, I did find this workshop helpful because somebody introduced me to a new hairdresser and she said she only used Zelle. And I had never ever heard of Zelle. So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
this has been helpful.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Is there anybody else, Dixie? With hands raised? Dixie?
Judy has her hand up.
Oh, okay.
And
Go ahead, Judy.
Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
yes,
We can hear you.
Okay. My question is, you said on, I think it was Apple Pay, that you could take money out of your account and put it in a reserve thing on Apple Pay to pay your bill later.
Yes.
Say I put money in there and decided I didn't want to. Can I transfer it back to my check?
Yes. Very, very, very good question. And I'm sorry I did not mention that. See? Yeah, absolutely. If you take money out of your checking account and leave it in your Apple Pay account to do something with later, and then you decide you don't no longer want it, you want it back in your checking account, absolutely. There's a way of transferring back to the bank. Now, the only thing to keep in mind with that is if you're sending it back to your bank account, it could take up to 1 to 2 business days for it to show back up in your bank. If you have a debit card linked to your Apple Pay account as well, and you want it sent back to your debit card, which would actually put it on your card right away, you wouldn't have to wait that 1 to 2 days. There is a tiny little charge, and that fee depends on the amount of money that you're trying to transfer back to your debit card. And it could be, we're talking, if you say $25, I think the fee is going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't think even 25 cents.
So, but in a way, it would be a good way to save money.
It is. Like, you can kind of use it as a checking savings account. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. You're welcome. Anybody else? That's a really good question. I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Anybody else?
No, I don't see anybody.
Nobody else. Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Guys, like I said, you want to be cautious of all, as I just, I was telling Cleo, with any of these services, you really want to be cautious, and you got to be cautious. You can't expect these companies to watch out for you. You got to watch out for these companies. And if you do, you'll be okay. Yes, like you heard with Cleo, there was a problem. Someone hacked into her account. However, her bank detected it, which a lot of your banks are good about that, about monitoring things like that, because it's called suspicious activity. And they were able to call her and alert her and let her know about that type of service, about that type of activity on her account. And they were able to alert it to her and stop it before it actually became a problem. So that's really, really good. With that being said, I just really, for those that have never tried, these type of services, I really would encourage you to look into at least 1 or 2 of some of these services. They're really, handy, really, nice. But do your homework. Be careful what you're signing up for. As the old saying goes, buyer beware. So, Anyway, there is no other hands, Dixie?
No.
No, no other hands. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna go in unless someone has any other questions. Last chance for questions, comments, anything of that nature. If there aren't any more raised hands, I'd like to go ahead and ask if Carolyn's still here, if she'd like to unmute, and if she has any closing comments that she'd like to throw in, not to put her on the spot. Carolyn, you there?
I'm here.
All right.
And
So
great job, Jay and Dixie. And I want to thank everybody for coming and remind you that we have a Zoom social tomorrow at 11. And next week we have our book discussion. So we'd like to invite you to join us. Every month we have a workshop on a different topic. And if you have a suggestion for something you would like to have covered, let us know. And if you would like to learn more about what Jay has covered today, you can call him and make arrangements to take a class. So otherwise, have a safe and blessed day.
all
When are you going to open up the center so we can see all the wonderful changes?
We are opening on a limited basis on October 5th.
Okay.
right.
So we will start classes one-on-one in person on that day. I believe it's a Monday.
Mhm.
But like, what about for visitors?
Session Face ID authenticating.
What do you mean visitors?
Alert. Face not recognized.
No, if somebody wants to come, that people they've
But it's only
with,
one-on-one right now.
Face not recognized.
that want to come and, say hello and check out the center and all the changes.
Oh, yeah.
Do
we'll
upon
have,
appointment.
yes, it would probably be by appointment.
Mhm.
Because we have to be careful. Our workshops at that point will probably still be online or through Zoom. We will have to wait for our large gatherings, but the one-on-one classes, we'll host those and we'll try to limit the amount of people in the center at one time. We have hand sanitizers in every room. We'll be taking everybody's temperature. Everyone will be expected to wear masks. So we want to be safe and we want to keep everyone safe, including our staff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming, and we will talk to you guys next month.
Thank you.
All right.
Tomorrow.
Take
Good
care.
to hear from you, Karen.
Woo-hoo!
Man,